Zhou Yongkang was once one of the most powerful people in all of China, and when he was arrested for corruption, authorities discovered an extensive system that converted that power and influence into cash. I recently picked up and read a really interesting paper by Ting Chen and James Kong regarding cronyism in China. You can read the whole thing yourself if you're interested, but I wanted to share a few thoughts. It is pretty cool. Cronyism is a type of corruption, and is not the only type in the Chinese party state, but this is what I'm going to focus on in this video. The other few types are big problems too. For example, accepting bribes in exchange for promotions. Very corrosive to how the government works, but not what we're focused on here. It might seem all the same to you, but cronyism refers to a very specific thing. Let us talk a bit about the economic and political circumstances that come together to create this situation. One of China's economic reforms in 1998 involved granting local governments de jure ownership over all land in their areas. Remember, in China, no one can actually quote-unquote own land. You simply receive a lease for that land for some long period of time. It's the same way in Hong Kong and Singapore. Local governments are the final owner of all land in their jurisdictions. This decentralized the real estate business in China, taking the responsibilities of doling out that land out of the national government's hands. Local governments can now use their land the way they wish to, and one of the ways they have been using it is to resell what is called land usufruct rights to others. Land usufruct rights are simply a fancy word that means you have granted the rights to do whatever you want with an item short of destroying it. So essentially, land ownership. So you got one side of the equation, you got local and prefectural party officials who are suddenly granted the ability to sell land rights to whoever they want. To fill out the rest of the equation, let's talk about what those local officials want and are seeking. Technically, party officials in China are promoted on the basis of their economic performance. During the reform period, the parties conducted what is essentially a tournament. Regional officials are pitted against each other to come up with innovative and effective ways to drive economic benefits for their area. Winners get promoted, losers are out. But here's a catch. Who decides the winner? It's your boss, the party official ranked immediately above you. So let's step into the shoes of Mr. Local Party Official. You have at your control the ability to sell the exploitation rights for land to anyone you wish. You want to get promoted, and you need to impress the guy above you. So the result is you can either work really hard, come up with innovative ideas, policies, and then try to advance yourself and impress the people above you, or you can do all of that and sell them or their associates some of those land rights on the cheap. In return, you get promoted to the next level. That is what happened. That's cronyism in a nutshell. From 2000 to 2009, nearly a quarter of all the 2,802 corruption cases reported in the party newspaper were related to land. We're not just talking about empty plots in the city downtown. Lots of this land is valuable not just because you can put apartments on top of them, but there's stuff underneath them as well. Zhou Yongkang's son, Zhou Bin, started a small holding company, and soon enough it started receiving interesting opportunities. Their business model was to acquire land, oil wells, and coal mines at substantially below market rates. The provincial party secretary of Yunnan, Bai and Pei, was arrested and confessed to selling the Zhou's land and coal mines in the Sichuan and Yunnan provinces. According to the trial documents, the Zhou's paid just $20 million USD for assets worth at least $15 billion. Jiang Zemin was once the vice governor of Qinghai province. He sold Zhou several land parcels and oil fields at a pittance. Jiang was rewarded in turn with the chairmanship of the China National Petroleum Corporation, Zhou's old stamping grounds. So, alright, we know the business model. Let's see who is practicing it. The paper looked at companies associated with 134 family members of 48 Politburo and Politburo Standing Committee members. More than half were children and wives of said members. There were more than a few overlapping companies. Dalian Wanda, for example, the real estate firm owned by one of China's richest people, has close ties to 4 Politburo Standing Committee members. In total, there were 3,530 such companies, In the 12 years from 2004 to 2016, they have bought a cumulative 650 billion USD worth of Chinese land. The average discount from market value given for those purchases is 57%. It goes to as high as 80% depending on how you slice the data. But that's the bad thing, but here's what the good part, or I guess quote unquote good part of what the paper says. The paper also shows that Xi Jinping's multi-year anti-corruption drive has been effective in cutting this discount. In jurisdictions where the CCDI, the anti-corruption panel, has done an investigation, or where Xi Jinping has appointed one of his allies, the discount basically vanishes. 7.5%, which is basically noise. So, short video, short paper, fun paper to read. China's local governments primarily make money by taxing land and land transactions. This is in large contrast to the United States, which makes the bulk of its money by taxing the incomes of businesses and individuals. Both have their advantages and disadvantages. But several areas in China are experimenting with the American tax model. Shenzhen is one well known, for example. I personally think that this might help the government better manage its real estate corruption issues. But much of what I said in my other video about China's corruption problems, the opportunity, the government problems, that still stands. Alright, short video, but I really like this paper. Go pick it up and read it. It's good stuff. Alright, everyone. Have a good one. Good night.